The big question is, how do we teach directing in a pandemic? Of course, I did not have an answer for this right away, but in 72 hours, I came up with a way to do it, which we implemented immediately. My name is Francisco Menendez. I'm the artistic director of the UNLV film program. But how do you do a course called Advanced Directing Workshop Initiative, in which you have actors, you have directors that are learning to be actors to help them direct. You have directors that are working with professional actors. You have cinematographers, production designers, editors, and costume designers all collaborating together. How do we take that into the virtual space?
And now this year, there were several nominations from different schools, and we have one winner only. And I'm happy to say that this is our friend and colleague from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Francisco Menendez. I would like to first ask the CNA chair, Michael Kowalski, to say a few words presenting Francisco, especially acknowledging that this is the first teaching award winner from the region of North America. We have had winners from almost all the other regions, actually from all the other regions, from CARA, from CAPA, from CIBA, and from JECT. Finally, we have a teaching award winner from CNA.
I think if you've met, and I know that a lot of you have met Francisco over the years at select events, one thing you notice about him, he's always been at the forefront of technological change, and he's always had this real eagerness to kind of push the envelope and embrace innovation. In the US, he is probably the first person that I met that's been kind of teaching actively immersive technology. He not only teaches it at UNLV, but I know he's done workshops. He's not just someone who teaches it, he really kind of, believes in it. And he is also, and this is more recent, of course, this is with COVID, he's developed some very kind of innovative approaches to directing. And as many of you, or at least, as many of you probably have realized now, this is a very challenging area to teach online. And I can tell you at Chapman, we're still working on it, and perhaps someday we'll figure it out, hopefully before COVID ends. So on behalf of CNA, I would like to express my heartfelt congratulations to him on receiving this award, and I have absolutely no doubt that it is well-deserved.
His deep involvement in the whole idea of just being a screen creator. Give me the tools. It doesn't matter what the tools are. If it needs to be created for the screen, any screen, even a 360-degree implied screen, then I'm going to figure it out, how it works. And I'm a big believer in the whole idea of making mistakes to learn. And I was a little frustrated in educational environments that a lot of educational environments design that out to some degree. Well, Francisco doesn't design that out. In the programs that he leads and the way that he teaches, he lets people explore and discover how things can work for them. And I think that's a really high level quality. And particularly in the circumstances we find ourselves in now, where online teaching can become so programmatic that everybody's just cookie cutter coming out the other side. And I know Francisco's looking for opportunities to help individuals find their own voice. And so congratulations, Francisco, you earned it big time.
I'm very delighted to have found Select through UFVA and realized I had arrived at a place where people who were not only professionals, but cared about visual storytelling and empowering their students to be the next filmmakers of tomorrow. I want to say I'm thrilled for my students, members of UFVA, an organization that sponsored this kid from El Salvador, and got him to Select, and for all the wonderful leaders of Select that inspire me every time we're at a conference. we can innovate in this very trying time.
Students at UNLV are hoping to be future filmmakers, but the pandemic, of course, changing the way students create films. 13 Action News reporter Kelsey McFarland shows you how students at UNLV are using virtual reality to make movie magic.
This has been a terrific period of innovation for us as a department.
Professor Francisco Menendez was recently named Teacher of the Year by a global organization for elite international film schools.
He's always been at the forefront of technological change.
Menendez took the pandemic as an opportunity to teach immersive technology, creating films all through a computer.
We have figured out a way to do virtual production, and we have figured out a way to create a virtual classroom. So all those things are very exciting.
Instead of your typical Zoom call, students step into a virtual reality classroom with VR headsets.
We got out of the Brady Bunch grid and we got ourselves into 3D VR space.
You take a picture of yourself, so it makes you an avatar.
Here it is pretty amazing that we're able to do what we're able to do, especially as we were talking about with the video moments ago, that we can be this close.
Like, it almost feels like we're too close just because we've been going on almost a year of not being allowed to be close to people. But it's like, yeah, like Tyler's like right in front of me now, and I don't think, and I can see his whole face, and I don't think we'd be able to do that like if we were in class right now.
The 360 part, like being able to do that is awesome. Like, for example, what we just did a moment ago, going to watch the video and being able to come back in here, I think that's pretty impressive. We couldn't do that like just by sitting in our classroom. And so the fact that we can have class and go and experience that and then come back and talk about it, that's pretty neat.
You get to just kind of be in front of people without your mask on because it's a picture of you.
Film major Julia Bresnan says producing and directing films via Zoom challenges their creativity in new ways.
Happy birthday, dear Lady Bird. Happy birthday to you.
A lot of our production designers have made such creative ways they make props and they drop them off at both actors' houses so actors can act like they're passing something and picking something up. So it kind of makes it more real, if that makes sense. They also make virtual backgrounds for a lot of the actors.
Menendez says virtual sets have been around for years, but shows like The Mandalorian bring it back to the mainstream.
All of this is just LED screens, displaying backgrounds pre-made in a video game engine.
We're getting this technology at UNLV and we're training these students for the 21st century.
Menendez says eventually in-person shoots will become more common.
I ordered Raisin Bran because I didn't want there to be any mistaken for a date.
In the meantime, his students have learned how to adapt and grow through an ever-changing industry.
My main goal was that we wouldn't have a lost generation of filmmakers. How do we keep teaching advanced directing when the best practice is social distancing? And so making impactful videos to sort of impress students by connecting images with intent, with meaning, I managed to do this over the past 4 years. But how in the world could I teach directing? It's hard enough trying to teach directing. And if you look, there's millions of books in our academic space about writing, but there are only a few books that tackle directing. I'm not talking about production, but I'm talking about the interaction between actors and directors. So what I'm proposing for the rest of the semester is to work in scheduling the scenes, and the director and the actors have a read-through. A couple days later, they're going to have a rehearsal. In between, the director and the creative collaborators will meet and have a tone meeting. These 3 separate processes for every one of the scenes will allow the directors to understand how to attend the actor's first impulse in the first read-through, how to communicate and enable their creative collaborators to the execution of the scene without actors, and how to synthesize all those choices in a virtual shoot, which will be cut live and also recorded with coverage so that the director can provide a different cut that follows the emotional truth of the scene. What I would like you to do, which may seem weird to you, is Katie, look over to your left, please. Yep, and that's not too much. Split the difference. And now it's just a matter of me getting the eye lines correctly so that characters are looking. Katie's going to be looking camera right, and Luke is going to adjust himself to look camera left. What it allows them to do is open up sufficiently so that they can see each other on the screen, and yet when the cut happens, it gives the illusion, because of our continuity style, that they're talking to each other. As already discussed and executed in class, one of the takeaways for the students is that I never look down at a script. I always attend to them. And at the end of them doing it all the way through, I just ask them very simply, great, let's do it again. And of course, I've asked them before we started the first read through, do they have any questions? And if I feel that they're lost or they have a question, then I'll ask it again. That line was beautiful. Thank you. What we're trying to teach them fundamentally as best practices in this workshop is to have the answers to all questions for your creative collaborators and for your actors, and yet to find ways to hold back and let everybody give you what their concerns or even their creative impulses are. And if you don't have the emotional intelligence, you have to learn how to develop it and nurture it so that you can be there for them and they can achieve ownership of the script. So we're in the second read through right now, and what's great is they have not had anything pressed upon them, and we get to see what it's like for them to travel back in time and start again and intuitively fix those things that they felt in the first read through did not work exactly for them. You'll get a sense from each actor how much they need, and you'll get a sense how much you need to give them depending on what that will achieve as you build the process. You're not trying to create a final performance here. You're trying to create a relationship between these two, answering questions of want and need from their characters, and they have to go through each other to try and get what they want. And this is all very powerful stuff if the student is present, not looking at his phone, not multitasking, but instead just watching what the performers are doing. And they, of course, are trying to figure out a way, at first, to get it right. And of course, there is no such thing as getting it right. There is only getting it to a place where they can play the scene over and over again for our coverage and sustainable for the entire part of the shoot. So the second read through has ended, and now I do have some notes, and I normally pick one actor to give notes to see what impact that has on the other actor. Sometimes I give them both notes, and they come in the form of verbs, playable verbs, that are in contrast to the text. By giving these notes individually, the other actor gets to be surprised. Once I say it, you could totally forget it. But at the beginning, you can charm him in an intimate way. I mean, you want him to dance with you, and so you really, those letters are this is the bait to get him to be your dance partner. So much of directing is modulating your voice, and one of the things, of course, I'm a loud person, so I have to work to, what Zoom allows me to do is be closer to the actors in a way that I don't normally get to do, and by actually modulating the voice down, you can actually get them to talk to people like they're 8 inches from each other. So curiously enough, in this time of social distancing where we can't be, this is as far away as we're supposed to be from people, here a director can track performance and make slight adjustments and keep attending to that performance. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever told anybody about all that stuff that happened at work?
At work? not so the people that know.
In terms of your choices, I just want you to just be a little less.
Okay.
Not less on the choice or less on the intention or less on the agency, just, he's right there, even though he's not. What's there is your paper and you're looking off to the side because I asked you to. And if those verbs don't work, they won't work all the time. And that's okay because they're not, I don't want you to indicate any of that stuff to me. I want you to really just use them to fuel your play. The way the software works, this incredibly feels like a rehearsal. As has been emphasized in class, every actor and every pair of actors will be different. I could put a different actress with Luke, or I could put a different actor with Katie, and attending to their needs or trying to find provocative ways of engaging them would be different. The other thing I ask of them, which is something very interesting when you say this to an actor, is right before you say action, you say, take your time. And sometimes that means that they will actually get there sooner and it will speed up. Sometimes it means that they will take their time and they will actually connect with what the other actor is saying. And there's no right or wrong. It actually gives them freedom to choose. And that is also powerful to witness. We had managed to do was to get these best practices of having all the answers that interpretation and critical analysis of the script to give them, and to not foist them on the actor, to allow the actor to discover them and to be present and to be there for them. And somehow Zoom and the ability to be able to give individual notes, the ability to use playable verbs, really, we had managed to crack this.